The storm had just rolled off the Texas plains when she arrived, soaked, shivering, and carrying nothing but a worn leather suitcase and a look that said she'd already lost too much. Her name was Clara May, and by the time she stepped off that dusty train, she'd decided that beauty, or whatever was left of it, had never done her any favors. The small town of Red Creek barely noticed her. Folks had their own worries, crops dying, cattle prices falling, and secrets buried deeper than the roots of the cottonwoods. But one man noticed, a tall cowboy leaning against the post of the feed store, hat tilted low, eyes dark as rain clouds. His name was Luke Callahan. Hook. When Clara whispered, "I'm not pretty," months later, voice trembling in the quiet glow of a campfire, Luke looked straight at her, his jaw tight, his words slow and steady. Greater than, "That's not what I see." And that was the night her story began to heal. But it took pain to get there, the kind that breaks a soul before it rebuilds it. Clara had been running. Not from the law, not from danger, but from herself. In the city, she'd been engaged to a man who said all the right words and meant none of them. When a fire scarred her face the winter before the wedding, he couldn't even look at her. The ring was gone before her bandages came off. The whispers followed her everywhere. Poor thing, such a shame. So she left. She saw an ad in a newspaper, help wanted on Callahan Ranch. Room, board, and fair wages. It sounded like peace, maybe even redemption. Luke Callahan wasn't known for small talk or soft looks. Folks said he'd lost his heart in the war and buried it somewhere under the western sun. He ran the ranch with quiet strength and a pair of weathered hands that could fix a fence or cradle a foal with the same care. When Clara showed up asking for work, Luke just studied her. Not the way men usually did, not with pity, not with curiosity. He just looked, really looked. Greater than, "Can you ride?" he asked. "I can learn," she said. "Then you'll do." That was it. No questions about her past. No comment about the thin scar that crossed her cheek like a faded memory. But something in his eyes, something gentle, unspoken, made her wonder if maybe, just maybe, Red Creek might be a place to start again. Days at the ranch were long. Clara learned to saddle horses, mend fences, and face the blistering sun without complaint. She made mistakes, plenty of them, but Luke never raised his voice. Instead, he taught by doing. He'd hand her the reins, nod toward the open field, and say, "Trust the horse. Trust yourself." And somehow, that lesson started to mean more than it should have. The town gossips, though, they never rested. "Callahan's got himself a city girl," they'd whisper. "She ain't right for ranch life. She's just here to find a husband." Every word sank deep, reopening wounds she'd tried to forget. One evening, after hearing more than she could bear, Clara locked herself in the barn and cried until her throat ached. Luke found her there hours later, sitting beside the mare she'd been nursing. "Greater than, you gonna quit on me?" he asked softly. "Maybe I should. I don't belong here." "Belonging's not something folks give you," he said. "You make it. Every day you show up, you make it." She didn't answer. But she didn't leave, either. Months passed. The ranch began to feel like home. Luke began to smile again. Small, fleeting smiles that warmed more than the fire ever could. But peace never lasts forever. A lightning storm set the north field ablaze one night. Cattle scattered, fences burned, and Clara ran straight into the smoke to help save the herd. Luke caught up to her near the creek, coughing, eyes red with fear. "Greater than, what the hell were you thinking?" he shouted. "I was thinking I won't watch something else I love burn," she cried. In that moment, covered in soot, trembling, she looked every bit as broken as she'd once felt. And that's when it slipped out, raw, real, and aching. "Greater than, I'm not pretty, Luke. I'm not brave. I'm not." He stepped closer, his hand lifting her chin gently. "Greater than, that's not what I see." His voice was rough, almost breaking. "Greater than, I see the woman who kept this place alive when I'd given up. I see the girl who ran into fire instead of running away. I see someone worth looking at, scars and all." She didn't answer, she just cried. But this time, it wasn't from pain. The days after the fire were hard, but the ranch survived, so did they. Luke and Clara worked side by side, rebuilding fences and futures. The town still talked, but this time, she didn't care. She'd found something deeper than beauty, acceptance, purpose, and love that saw beyond her reflection. When spring came, the wildflowers bloomed across the fields, yellow, white, and stubbornly beautiful. Luke took her hand, dirt still under his nails, and asked her to stay. Greater than, stay, she smiled. For good, he said. Because I've spent too many years alone, and I don't plan on missing another sunrise without you. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't whisper she wasn't pretty this time. She just smiled, because she finally believed what he'd seen all along. Ending scene. Under the Texas sunset, Clara stood with the wind in her hair, laughter echoing through the hills. The scars were still there, but now they told a story of survival, not shame. And when Luke wrapped an arm around her waist and whispered, "Greater than, you're the prettiest thing I've ever seen," she didn't argue, because for the first time, she knew it was true, not because of how she looked, but because of who she'd become. Sparkle's message: real beauty doesn't fade, wrinkle, or burn, it's built from courage, kindness, and the way someone keeps showing up even after the world breaks them.